Good day, lords and ladies, and welcome back to another series of Battle Brothers with me, Cornish-Knight. Now, it's been a while since we've done one of these, but with the new DLC announced and probably appearing not too far in the distant future, I thought we would touch base with Battle Brothers once again and do a new short series until the DLC comes out. This is going to be basically a how-to series, like advising people, giving tips and advice and various bits and pieces to help along in the campaign, because this game can be very challenging for people who have never played it before. Now, what is Battle Brothers, you're asking? Battle Brothers is a party management tactics-based game where you manage a mercenary company in a fantasy setting and try and reach fame and fortune. It's an infamously hard game. I am not going to lie about this. So let's see, will this be known? What should we call our company? Sons of Kurno. Sons of Kurno. That sounds like a good one. The Sons of Kurno. That can be our mercenary company, the Sons of Kurno. Right. Late game crises. We can do random. All crises will be randomly chosen between the options below. So we can have war, greenskin invasion, undead scourge, permanent destruction. Permanent destruction basically means that all cities, towns and castles can be permanently destroyed during a late game crisis, and having the world go down in flames is one of many ways you can lose a campaign. It is recommended you have it on. So we'll have that. We'll have a random end game crises on. Out of all the ones that I've played, the Human Civil War is the least dynamic, as it were. Greenskin invasion is really nasty. The first late game crisis will be an invasion of greenskin hordes threatening to sweep away the world of man. If you survive for long enough, the following ones will be chosen at random. The first, the Scourge, is basically like a zombie apocalypse. So, we shall have one of these. It's going to be random, so we don't know what's going to happen. We had to pick our banner. And there's a whole lot of lovely, interesting stuff. There's some stuff that's been added recently. Normally, I go with the good old white, black and gold, which are the Cornish colours, the Kurno colours. The flag of St. Patrick is black and white. So, is it white? Is it black and white or white and black? I can never remember these days. But these are the colours that appear a lot on Cornish livery. So, let's have something slightly different. Let's see, what do we have, lords and ladies? What do we have? The sun. Oh, so we just go with the classic. No, let's have something different. Let's think outside the box. I know this is a dangerous ground for someone like me to walk on. We'll go with the dragon. Dragons are folklores of Cornishmen from far and wide, so let's have a dragon. Plus, we have got the Worm DLC, which adds legendary beasts into the world, especially it basically adds dragons. So we'll put it in here. Right, economic difficulty, beginner. Contracts will pay more, you'll be able to carry more resources at once. Recommended for players new to the game. We'll go with veterans, that's the standard stuff. Provides a balanced playing experience, can be quite challenging. Recommended for veterans of the game, or the genre. Combat difficulty. I think what I will do, I will sub everything on beginner, just to basically show you. We'll put starting funds on medium. I'm going to put it on beginner just to show. This is basically predominantly, we'll do Iron Man as well. This is predominantly to show people. This is going to be a first player guide, or at least like a tips and advice guide to basically how to do things. So we want it to be not as challenging, especially since we've got a lot of random stuff on. So once the DLC comes out, obviously we'll put it on veteran. They've put starting funds on medium, recommended for balanced experience. We'll do that one. Economic difficulty is beginner. This is just so that we don't get mullered straight away, which can happen in Battle Brothers. And I just want to basically give you advice and tips and suggestions, which isn't tips, tricks and advice. It all went wrong 2 days ago. The company was hired to track down Hogarth the Weasel and his band of raiders. but it was them who found you first, and ambushed some jokes about the horses, cut short by an arrow to the throat, and the arrow shooting from everywhere and nowhere. Men holler and scream a great volume before death. As the hail subsides, you draw your weapon with the rest of your men, only to collapse to your knees. An arrow has punctured your side. You shout in pain. A harried glance sees the men charge without you to make a valiant last stand. Met in force of steel, class of steel, you meet eyes with the captain. A last nod before his throat is slit open. You left in command now, what few men remain, tumbling in pain. You lean on your sword, and with all that will you can, muster slowly rise again. To the end, you bellow. So this is basically the introduction. For those of you who have not played the game before, there goes one of our men. That's one of our guys fighting valiantly before he gets brutally murdered by a bloke with a woodman's axe. There's Hoggot the Weasel running away. And here are our people. I've basically turned on the AI ability to track the movements of our own guys. This, for those of you who don't know, is your action point system. This works similar to the old Xcom series or some of the other turn-based tactical games where you have action points that you spend on movement and on abilities and on various other skills and attributes. Well, skills, movement, or abilities, or just attacks. See, for example, it'll take us 2 AP and will cost us 5 fatigue to fire at anyone. The further away, the more likely it is to miss. See, for example, if I wanted to shoot him here, it'd be less, or it'd be higher chances. It's got a 54% chance to hit, and then once we fired with a crossbow, we have to reload. It has a 15% chance to hit and a minus 3% per tile of distance. Has a range of 6 tiles on even ground. More of shooting downhill. Inflicts 18 to 30 damage to armor. Has 10 bolts left. So we could move up a little bit if we wanted to. If we wanted to, we could move them up here. It would cost us 2 AP. And then we'll get 2 fatigue to traverse as well. Fatigue adds up over time. You have a maximum fatigue counter. Fatigue is gained for every action while moving or using skills, and when being hit in combat or dodging in melee, it reduces at a fixed rate of 15 per turn, or as much as necessary for a character to start an even with 15 or less than your maximum fatigue. If a character accumulates too much fatigue, they may need to rest a turn, do nothing before they could be able to use more specialist skills again. Fatigue plays a big part in this game. Like, fatiguing out some factions is very important. Some factions also do not suffer from fatigue, like Undead, which makes them particularly terrifying in long, drawn-out battles. So, this is what we're going to do. He's going to stand. We're going to stand there. I'm going to shoot him. Excellent. We get him. We get like the crossbow bolt flies out. We just skewer the man, like hit the man clean through the soda, and he sort of like staggers and screams and like does not look particularly happy. We've got to use the rest of our action points to reload. Now we've got. This is the guy Otto. That's what he's got. He's irrational, so he has a +10 or plus. Oh, that's bad. They all have different attributes and stuff. So go and listen to in a minute. So these are our guys. They're all background companions. These are basically people who survived the initial assault. So they all are loyal to you. He's dissatisfied because most of the company is dead. You have this guy. He's Iron Lung, +5 recovery per turn on top of our normal amount. And Irrational has +10 and -10 resolve randomly at every morale check. That's pretty bad. And with him, he's bright, so he gets additional XP, which is always nice for a ranged unit. But with the 2 weapons, it basically costs us 6 AP, I should say, 6 AP to swing, to split a man in half. And it builds up 15 fatigue, so we can only move him about 1 square for him to be of any use if we want him to attack. So, put him here. Actually, I think I will put him here, so he's blocking. That does mean this great weapon user, if he has the same amount of fatigue as us, but he has an injury, and injuries always give status effects. The spearman will come up here, which takes us a bit of movement, about 4 HP, or AP, and we shall put on spear. We'll prepare to immediately attack an opponent who attempts to move in melee range. So if we put spear on, we cover these hexagons around our units. So we basically cover this approach, which will force this guy to move even further, which is fantastic. And in comes the enemy. Right. Let's try and split him. 59% chance. And we kill him with a lovely smash to the head. With what little AP we have, we are going to fall back. We're going to fire a crossbow at him. Miss horribly. We're going to move up here to cover. Get our spear wall up. Oh dear. He misses. It's still not great because it's going to take us a turn to get around and around there. I'm going to move here so we're not too stuck in melee. So I don't want him to... predominantly with two-handed weapons, you do not want to spend a round in melee not attacking unless you have to. Well, not attacking. Because what will happen is that the AI will target your great weapon users, and because he's not wearing any kind of helmet and this guy's got a cleaver, he may just chop our guy's head clean off, which is not great. So we're going to pass. He can still shoot though. And we get him in the gut. The crossbow flies forward. He can't reload in melee though, so if we wanted to, we'd have to basically yank out his dirk. Daggers are very useful for killing guys in high armor because it bypasses armor, and you can just kill people straight away. And get that. Basically, the way that you get gear from dead bodies in this game is that anything that's not damaged beyond a certain amount is left lying on the battlefield for you to pick up if you win. So it is advised that you don't destroy good equipment unless you can help it. Move the spearman up. Early on, spears are a nice weapon because they have, you can see here, they have a 20% chance to hit. So against weaker opponents, you can very quickly finish them off. When we finish this guy off, we just stand up and we just jab him through the stomach with the spear. And he topples over dead. We get a little bit of stuff. Nothing particularly fantastic. I would have liked that cleaver if I was able to get it. It's a very useful weapon, especially against certain factions like the undead, who will continue to decapitate them. You are alive, you've won. The adrenaline fades, and in its wake, you can't help but sink back to the ground. Gritting your teeth, you snap the arrow shaft, your chest heaves, pain for breath, everything blurs. Your company is devastated, cut down to but a few men, and that bastard Hogarth did justice to his name, fleeing like a weasel he is. What now, Captain? Declares someone. A voice says from behind you. It's Otto, who sits down beside you, bedding his blooded axe on his legs. You turn to him and reply, but before you can answer, he continues, Bernard's dead. His face slit his throat. He was a good man and a damn good leader, but all it takes was one mistake. That makes you the one in charge now, doesn't it? Orkbane, like Albert Orkbane, joins the two of you, still breathing heavily. Then Lichbit the younger, save the ceremony and the anointments for another day. Let's give the men a good burial and return to KOCHENDORF to collect our pay. The weasel's men are slain after all. Besides the captain, we ought to see to that wound before we lose you too. Wouldn't want to leave Albert Orkbane in charge, right? Right, so welcome to the fantastic randomly generated world of Battle Brothers. Now, this is the human world. There is stuff outside of it. There's going to be even more stuff added in the DLC as well, folks. The developers have very clearly announced that the DLC will contain a lot more. It will basically buff what I call the Beast faction, which is the creatures, the random monsters and stuff that lurk in the wilderness. It will give them a lot more, I should say, teeth, but it's going to add a lot more nasty stuff. We have 3 noble factions, as you can see here on the map. If we wanted to, we could go and have a check out of them. We have House Eberlin. Plenty is caused by diligence. Wealth is sought by many, but the highly reputed traders of House Eberlin are the best when it comes to striking profitable bargains. Bound by ancestral ties to the renown of their forefathers, they uphold honesty and integrity as their family values. House Periwinger, sheep ye bear the wool. The House Periwinger is known for its lavish lifestyles and battalion festivals. The price has to be paid by someone, so half-starved cattle, empty granaries, and desperate townsfolk are common sights when House Periwinger rules. Although other noble houses may look down on such brutality and depletion, they are at the same time desperately awaiting their invitation to the next feast. And then we have House Whirlberg. The world does not the world does not suffice. Trade and haggling can be just as fierce as fighting a war, and House Whirlberg is true master of the cunning bargains. Rumour has it that many profitable deals made by House Weilberg is not only based on honest trade, but also on bribery, extortion, and deception. The family resides in the prosperous region capital of Jadaberg, but despite their unmeasured riches, they know to be notoriously closed-fisted. Interesting. I'm judging by this intro that that doesn't describe any tensions from amongst the houses, that we're not going to have a civil war for our first world event. My money is probably going to be either on an undead invasion or orcs, which is worrying because those two tend to be the harder two to survive. And because we do have permadeaths on, folks, this world can really go down in flames. So let us have a look at our own inventory, at our companions. We have... He really needs to have a... That reduces fatigue by 2, which is not great. But head armor is so important in this game. It really is. So, he has that. We have some axes. We have some bandages. If that's the case... I'll give him the bandages. Because it means that... Yeah. Apply bandages, there we go. We put it in the wrong Xcom, but yeah. You remove the bleeder status effect, remove grazes, cut artery, cut. It's basically useful because it allows us to patch up. First aid, remove bleeding status effect, yeah. Save yourself from bleeding, save another character. So we can apply these bandages and we can stop basically characters from bleeding out, which is a common way for people to die in this game. Right, so back to the real world. Here are the sons of Kurno. We got to send them up to Kochendorf. Let's get them on the move. With a single click of the spacebar. You can control time using the spacebar. You can advance time as well. Well, I would be careful about that because you can get into some really nasty syndigs if you're not careful. What a sorry display it must be for the onlookers as you arrive in Kochendorf. Floor-blooded and beaten mercenaries down their luck. The man who hired the company days ago, Alfred the Elder, no doubt expecting you to return in more glorious fashion. Still, he welcomes you to his house and offers you bread and wine, while the servants fetch a healer. Few words are exchanged, except for the occasional grunt and wheeze of an elderly man with shaky hands tending to your wounds. A pin pinches your skin. The first of many stitches to come. You grit your teeth till you think you hear one break. Alfred the Elder sits down to you and asks if you took care of Hogarth. You shake your head. We killed his men, but the weasel eluded our blades in the end, you mutter grimly. The healer waves around a glowing fire poker, suggesting he wants to push it into your wound. You nod and he does so. For a moment, that's all there is. You are not a man, you are a pinch of fire. Flesh from the flame, a golem of pain. Alfred the Elder hands you a goblet of wine. You did well, sellsword. The brigands have been removed, but it is a shame that Hogarth still lives. We expect to get paid for this, you mutter sharply. Alfred the Elder gasps. Well, naturally, 400 crowns is agreed upon. He gestures towards a servant who rushes to your side with a pay in hand. I wonder, may I make use of your services one more time? I'd very much like to end the headache that is Hogarth once and for all, and I would pay you again, of course, another 400 crowns, shall we say. Otto scoffs and turns to drink more wine, but Lebich, the younger, stands to speak. Yes, the company is in ruin, but we can rebuild it, he declares. Without the sons of Kurno, Otto would drink the crowns away and end up begging on the street. Elbert Orkbane, by the gods, we all know, he would go chasing the wound folk until one stove his rotted head in. We need the sons of Kurno. It's all we have. What do you say, Captain? Otto burps and raises his cup to you. Elbert Orkbane playfully thumbs his nose and nods. Kill that bastard Hoggart or not, it's up to you, Captain. Yes, we have unfinished business with Hoggart. I personally suggest that you do this training, this is basically a tutorial mission. I always suggest with this game that you do the tutorial mission just because the enemy is rather predictable, plus you get some good gear, and it's a relatively good pay early on. Alfred the Elder clasps his hands in satisfaction. Excellent, my little birds will need some time to find where Hoggart is hiding. In the meantime, I suggest you see about stocking up on supplies, so we'll be good and ready to end this when the time comes. I shall see you in a few days' time at the latest. As you leave Alfred the Elder's house and stand on the outskirts of KOCHENDORF, Lilibet the Younger seeks a word with you. We need more men, Captain. I know I gave a big speech back there, but bravado won't do sight. We need more warm bodies in the ranks. Figures we find 3 good men, buy them some decent weapons, dress them in the best armour we can afford. The man pauses to glance around. I bet this boondock town's got a desperate peasant or two looking for a new life, or we could travel to Ursbert in the east. Them city folks aren't always as hardy as these country bumpkins, but they're more likely to find men with fighting experience to stop to rest there. Right, so standard mission at the moment is to basically get, if we just leave the world, if we just leave for a second, and here we are back in the land of living. Our mission is to basically recruit at least 3 men, buy weapons and armour, and visit Kurbert east of KOCHENDORF, which is basically It's basically a stretched out settlement nestled in the surrounding mountains. The hammering of pickaxes against the stone can be heard in the distance. There's a whole economy going on, like a quite complex economic system in this setting. So, for example, wheat fields, we can buy grain here cheaper, which is useful because we need to buy food for our men. Right, so we can get bread here cheaper, basically slightly cheaper. It's not great, but it will do. Right, we have 2,400 gold. Let's see if we can find some people to recruit. Right, so we have a miller used to physical labour, which is not bad. Farmhands used to physical labour, which is nice. Another farmhand. Day teller. Day tellers used to all kinds of physical exercise, but do not excel at it. Right, we're going to probably grab millers. I'm not a fan of, because obviously, if you work as a miller, which is to grind grain, Folk didn't mind much hard work in the mill every day. One night he woke by a loud thunderstorm rushing outside. Folk realised that his mill had been ignited by lightning strike. While looking for an opportunity to meet a mercenary recruiter who promised him fame and fortune. Basically, mills historically had a bad reputation for burning down because of all the corn, all the flour dust in the air was very combustible, very explosive. At the top here, I should quickly mention, here's our funds. It costs us 33 crowns a day in pay. We have enough money to last us 72 days. That's before we buy anyone. We have food to last us 7 days, but our food will go off. So you want to be careful about how much you basically use. The average man requires 2 provisions per day. We have tools which are used to repair our stuff. We have ammunition and we have medical supplies. If we run out of medical supplies, it can be bad. Also, medical supplies are required to treat injuries. It's like bandages, herbs, poultices, stuff to disinfect, like alcohol. People can die from injuries. You can lose limbs. There's a permanent injury system. You can get it healed. People can die from disease, so you want to be careful. Back to here. I probably won't take the miller because he'll probably have lung conditions. Day teller is okay. I've probably got to take some farm hands. With food so needed, the little wonder that farm hands are a more common sort of man in all the land. Helstan knows a couple of kinds of hoes, all of which a farmhand can swing with ease. Word has it he really did sleep the farmer's daughter. What a surprise, he's no longer on the farm. He misses the cows, true, but Helstan should take to the mercenary life, tough life with ease. Pigsty, stables, and ungated pens, these are dreams of nightmares of farming men. Rabbi spent many years harvesting the crops that fed everyone in the land. After a weather soured his harvest, the farmer decided to choose a vacation not wholly based on the whims of Mother Nature. Rabbi is bigger enough to wring the guy's neck like it was a cow's udder. So we'll take these two for their physical contributions, hopefully, and let's see who we have. He's brave, that's nice, good spirits, and the other gentleman is iron-jawed, threshold of stain injury on getting hit increased. That's not bad. It's not great gear, to be honest, but we can get better. Flails aren't fantastic. They eat up your fatigue, but they're good for crit hitting people. They get a 10% chance to hit people in the head. His melee skill is high. His as well, that's really nice. So, let's see. We want to quickly get into some gear. These are going to be about 30-minute episodes. So, what do we have? Nothing fantastic, to be honest. That pitchfork is very badly damaged. Let's see. Probably going to get a wooden shield, which isn't bad for that price. Bludgeon isn't too bad, but we already have a flail. The flail eats a lot of fatigue, though. But it's cheaper than everything else. A lot of this gear isn't particularly useful. Leather tunic, or linen tunic. It's not fantastic. And this stuff is expensive. So the idea of this is to basically pick and choose where you buy your supplies if you can help it. So, here's what the better weapon skill you do. Well, you can have that. Because you actually have a bonus to melee defense. Melee defense reduces to probably being hit with melee attacks, such as the Frost of a Spear. It can be increased as the character gains more experience. Normally I like to have 3 Sealedmen before I have another great weapon wielder, if possible. They're not fantastic. I mean, they're actually not bad, to be honest. His fatigue isn't great, but the seal does reduce it by 10. But he has a bonus fatigue. I mean, we could straight up just turn him... I'm just wondering... Because he could be a really powerful sword and board, or we could give him a great weapon and turn him into a really potent great weapon wielder. Because that iron jaw is really useful for great weapons. I think I might do that actually. But we need to get him some better gear, to be honest, before we do anything else. Because as it stands, our formation is basically like this. So we need to get some more people, really. And of course, with more people, it means our food is going to last 4 more days at the most. Which isn't great. Okay. Right, time is ticking on, it's the afternoon. We shall go down to Utzberg, or Utzberg. We can speed up time, as I said, which will make us move twice as fast. There has been a battle on the road, so we want to be careful. Along the way, as Utzbert's skyline appears on the horizon, Albert Orkbane seeks a word with you. Never been to Utzbert's before, but I've been around ones that look like it. Cities like these are great for selling goods, as all these prissy, pompous pricks love to have their goods delivered. With so many merchants, you can find almost anything you need to. Keep an eye on the other bargains, don't get swindled by them cutthroat merchants. Otto seems fit to add his own opinion of what you should do. If there's a good tavern, I say that we should go there first. Nothing helps man down on his luck more than a good pint. God knows we've earned it. Orkbane shakes his head. You say that every time we stop in town. You say that even when you're already drunk. Right, we should get to town quickly, hopefully before it gets night time. If it gets night time, places will close. But yes, they're still open. You're already on a contract, it's the same. This place isn't fantastic. We have a tavern and we have a temple, which is useful for healing. But first off, let's see if we can hire a couple more souls. Cripple isn't great, but they're super cheap, so they're great for like adding bodies. Miners are okay, but the downside of a miner is that their fatigue is normally really bad. Another cripple. I'm probably going to grab Sigmar. Since he's useful, the reason he's more expensive is because he comes with a pitchfork, which isn't bad. So we'll hire him. What do we get for our money? We got... Oh, he's impatient, always acts first in the very first round of initiative. Not bad. Not bad at all. If that's the case, I'm probably going to do... His weapon skill isn't too... range is terrible. Give him that. He needs to have a melee weapon. background. I mean, he's not got bad stats. He's got 1 in range, which isn't fantastic. But he's got range defense, which is useful for a sealed wall. But that basic range is not really high enough to worth me investing points into it, per se. No, it's not really. I'd rather just kit him out to be a member of the sealed wall. These guys are terrible. Like, he's a cripple, so he's going to be bad. But at 35 gold, it could be worse. We're just going to grab him and hope for some luck. Bloodthirsty. All kills are fatalities. That's not bad, to be honest. He's bloodthirsty. His melee skill is okay. Range is pants. He's got a lot of morale, though. He's growth for morale, and his fatigue isn't bad compared to some of the other ones. So he should be able to improve. We just have to keep him going. So we need to get some equipment very quickly. I just want to go and get this stuff done before we head on. First we need to grab some more grain, though. That will last us a good amount of time. It lasts us 5 days, which isn't bad. Right, so gear. First off, what do you want to get? I would like to get another spear, because they're very nice. Spears are very useful. Give you a bonus to hit things. A military spear, one-handed, isn't bad. I want to get a couple of shields as well. It's not great, because they're pretty expensive. They're more expensive than the bargaining price. We'll grab a spear. One-handed. The fatigue use on that is quite bad, but it's good for punching through armour. They're a bit more expensive here. Right, so what do we need to get? Right, he needs a spear. He needs a spear. Basically, you want to have a bit like this, which is you have your spears protecting your flanks. Spears protecting your flanks, and you have your range units. That's how I normally do my formations. We do need some armor, though, or at least some gear to protect them. That's not great. That's expensive. We'll grab that. Grab that. Some of this stuff is terrible condition. But it's better than trying to buy it full price. No, that's not great either, but I'll get it. Any hoods? Oh, man, this is killing me money-wise, but you need head armor. You really do. I'd like to have another range unit, to be honest, but their bows here are ludicrously expensive for what they are. I might be able to get a cheaper one back in the home village. So, quickly, because I'm sort of running out of time for today, guys. We'll give him that. He gets that. He gets that, which has to be repaired. The fact of not wearing helmets worries me like nobody's business. We give him... That's actually slightly better, so he can have that. He can have that to protect his head. It's not fantastic. I'd like to have another range unit. So we've got to sell these things that are worth nothing really to me. I'll hold on to the axe for now. So it's not a great start, but still, it could be worse. We're going to pause here. And this is the opening for our basic. This is like a tips and this is basically going to be like a beginner's introduction to Battle Brothers. I'm going to be advising, giving suggestions. It's going to be a nice slow-paced game. like campaign series, just talking people through hints and tips. If you want your name added to the list of to the roster, basically, I'll rename the people. I will. I have a list of people I know. I have a list of characters that normally get thrown in here just as people that I know. If you want other names added, please go ahead and add them to it. And we shall see what happens next time in the next episode of Battle Brothers, me, Cornish-Knight, as we step back into the world of Battle Brothers. I shall see you all next time, folks. Goodbye.